What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? It is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, and it's 6 a.m. in the morning. Hope you all had a good night. It's time to get the day started and get to work. But hey, it's a good day. We got a lot of things to go over. But remember, I am AC the engineer. Hope everybody's doing good. And this is AC Reviews the World. Back at you with episode 19. Now we got a good couple of things to go over today. Of course, we got to talk about Malcolm Jamal Warner. Theo Huxtable has passed away. I did a shorter video on it earlier yesterday when I found out the news after I got off. But we got to talk about that, and got some updates to the Texas flooding stuff, so we're going to go over all that stuff. WNBA salaries, they're having a big uproar about that, so we got to talk about that as well. But hey, let's get right into it. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, and hit that notification bell so you can get everything that I'm putting out there. But hey, let's jump into it. Like I said, the first thing we're going to go over today is the Malcolm Jamal Warner thing. Now, the Cosby Show was, in my opinion, was an amazing show. I still see episodes that are just pop up on my Facebook. If you're still on Facebook, they be having the whole episode up there. Now I sit there and watch it too. It's funny every single time. But let's jump right into it. Just hear about a little bit about what happened. And also Bill Cosby made a statement. So we're going to go into that as well. But let's jump right over into that.
Sandra, the reporting here really sad. Malcolm Jamal Warner, obviously best known for playing Theo on The Cosby Show. And according to TMZ, he has died after what appears to be an accidental drowning while on vacation with his family in Costa Rica. Now, TMZ reports that Warner, who's only 54 years old, died of asphyxia after he was caught by a strong current in the ocean there, and his body was found Sunday afternoon. Now, Fox has not been able to independently verify his death. We have reached out to his agent as well as his manager. We have not heard back yet, but we can tell you the Associated Press also reporting that he has passed away. Now, Warner dominated the role of Theodore Huxtable on all 8 seasons of The Cosby Show. He was nominated for the Emmy for the Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy for his performance in this role.
He was, if I think about it, he was probably my favorite actor on The Cosby Show. Now, tell me your thoughts. Who was your favorite actor, or if any other things that you saw him in that you liked? Just tell me about it.
He was a teenager throughout much of his time on the show, and his character quickly became a fan favorite. ABC News is reporting his body has officially been identified by Costa Rica's National Police following what appears to be just a horrible accident here, Sandra. We're going to continue working sources to get confirmation on our end of this, but if these reports do pan out to be true and he has passed away, he will be leaving behind his wife and his daughter. That's what we know right now. We'll send it back to you.
So absolutely sad. Thank you so much, Bill.
Now that is awful. Riptides. That sounds like a riptide to me, or you get pulled under and out from the water. At least that's my thinking. If I'm wrong, tell me. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful, especially when you're out at sea, out in the ocean. I've said this before. Mother Nature is a very scary thing. Mother Nature is a very scary thing. We got to respect it. Jesus, sad. He's leaving behind his wife and daughter. Amazing actor. Amazing actor. Now, like I said, tell me. I've only known him from The Cosby Show. I might have seen him in some other stuff, but I can't place it. My main thing is memory of him is from Theo Huxtable. As Theo Huxtable. That, and then those two shows, The Cosby Show, Family Matters. But the Family Matters son is, he going through a little something. But we ain't gonna talk about that right now. If y'all look into it, if you don't know about it, but hey. Say, I know some people are grieving. Anytime you're grieving, make sure you go talk to someone. Please go talk to somebody, because it's hard to deal with it on your own sometimes. Some people can't do it, but Jesus. Now we're going to go into that video where it talks about what Bill Cosby said about him. So we're going to jump right into that.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, who played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, has died. Warner drowned off the coast of Costa Rica yesterday while on a family vacation. Police in Costa Rica say Warner was caught by a high current in the water. Malcolm Jamal Warner starred in all 8 seasons of The Cosby Show as Theo Huxtable. He won an Emmy for his role as the only son of Bill Cosby's character, Cliff Huxtable. I spoke to Bill Cosby, of course, a longtime Montgomery County resident right here in the Delaware Valley. He remembered his young co-star with fondness.
And yet Malcolm Jamal Warner was still able to give life to the character you had in mind?
Very much so. Very, very much so. Malcolm, you could depend on Malcolm always going to the shelter to learn his lines, to gather his character, to come out and be ready. When news came, it was shocking, and of course my thoughts went straight to his mother, who worked so hard, and she was so wonderful with him.
Bill Cosby also sharing with me the humanity he remembers about Malcolm Jamal Warner. After The Cosby Show, Warner went on to star in several other shows, including the long-running medical drama The Resident. Malcolm Jamal Warner leaves behind a wife and a daughter. He was 54 years old.
That is very sad. Let that man rest in peace. He did a lot of great things. Great actor. I heard he had his own podcast. He also, God, he had a Grammy from a song. That is, you're getting old. It's crazy because you get older, the people you see growing up on TV, people are passing away. But this, he could have lived a lot longer. Just Mother Nature. Jeez. Now, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts on how he was as an actor. Did you like him? Or any other stuff you've seen him in. I didn't know he was in The Resident, so if you've seen him in The Resident, tell me about it. But dang, that's crazy. I had to bring that up. Now we're gonna pivot. We're gonna pivot over into the updates for the Texas flooding. So it looks like the last time we left it, it was around 160, 150 people still missing. So that number dropped real quickly. And like the next day it came out, it was like only 3 people missing. So we're going to jump over into that and see what that is talking about. So let's jump into that. Let's get over into it. Bow.
In Texas, let's get the latest on recovery efforts there. We do have some good news from Texas officials that we got in last night. They say that the number of missing people related to the deadly floods dropped from more than 160 people to just 3 in Kerr County. It's after many people were confirmed safe. Retired Marine Intelligence Officer Hal Kempfer is here. Hal has extensive training in disaster preparedness and response. Hal, this is a story that you and I have been discussing ever since it happened. We just saw a drop from 160 missing to 3 people missing. What happened to the people that are safe now, but have been classified as missing up until now? Are these likely people who were simply displaced and it took some time to confirm their whereabouts?
Austin, usually with these things, and we saw the same thing in the Lahaina fire, if you remember, over in Maui, they had a huge amount. I think it was like 1,000 people were missing at one point. It's a huge number. And then it really dropped down fast over a period of months. And that's the same thing here we're seeing over a period of weeks. It's dropping down. And what it is they start going through, first off, it's summertime in this case. So you got a lot of people are on vacation, they're gone, whatever. There was a lot of people up there who are, tourists that don't live there. And hence, there's not a lot of great records. In fact, if there are records that they checked into a campground by the river, they may not be able to find those records if they were there. So, basically they list them as missing because they just don't know. They're not quite sure where they are. And what happens is as people return home, as people make contact with others, as what's been happening, and this is what they kind of alluded to, is a lot of, dare I say, investigative effort happening on the side. While we're looking at this, they're going through these rolls constantly to see if they can identify where these people are or anything. Tragically, in some cases, those who are missing actually get moved to the column where they do find the remains, and that accounts for some. But in the most cases here, what looks like is a preponderance of it is they just simply were able to identify where these people were, and were able to take them off that list. And that is a
Now that makes sense to me, of course. They just have a high number of people who's already gone. They don't know, so they were able to check them off after they finding them. So it seems like 3 more people. That's the last amount. 3 people are missing from that whole Texas flooding. That is crazy. Let's keep going into this video.
critical thing you have to do in emergency management is you have to work that investigative side to try and clear those lists. Otherwise, you could have people out there for an extended period of time looking for remains of people who are simply not dead. They just went on vacation, or they went someplace and their neighbors or friends didn't know where they were, and they've been found.
So how does the number of missing drop so shortly, or so sharply, I should say? Is it likely that they've been slowly chipping away at that number for some weeks, but they didn't want to give a full updated number until they checked on everyone?
And they were getting people off the roster, and they finally said, okay, let's go ahead and put out a new list. That sounds to me more probable. There is another side of this. Sometimes there'll be folks in the category that were on, like a large number of people who they made some sort of administrative, I'm not going to say error, but they'd made some sort of administrative assumption going into it to categorize them as missing, even though they may have said, look, they're probably not missing, but we're going to treat them as missing until we've absolutely proved otherwise. And then something suddenly changes, and boom, a whole bunch of folks fall off the list because you're able.
I mean, that makes sense to me. Yes, that makes sense. I don't want to pause it too much, but that makes sense. When in doubt, I would assume the worst until you know the correct thing, because you don't want to treat them like, oh, they're just not going. Yeah, treat them like they're missing until you confirm that they're actually somewhere else.
To take them off. That's another scenario that could have taken place, and really it's not, what you see is you see people, meticulously going through brush and through the rubble, the debris, and everything else. That's the part that people see. What they don't see is people going through lists, making phone calls, checking social media, doing all sorts of stuff to try and figure out if any of these individuals were wrongfully or mistakenly put on that list, or in an abundance of caution put on that list. And that's what's been happening behind the scenes, and it just drops it immensely. But here's the thing. When these disasters occur, whether it's a fire, a flood, an earthquake, whatever, you don't want to rush to take people off that list if they're actually trapped. I mean, one of the most gut-wrenching things ever is that you think somebody is out there who isn't, who is actually trapped, and we stop looking for them. And that has happened enough times that they tend to be very conservative before they take someone off the list, or before they announce a big change in that. Now, what will happen is, dropping from 160, I think the last count I saw was 103, they dropped down to 3. What that will do is that will trigger some decisions on how many resources are going to apply to the continued search and recovery effort. And that's one of the reasons they may have held back, because they wanted to, keep those resources in place as long as possible, doing the amount of work. But now we're down to numbers so small. When you look at the numbers of people that were lost or killed in this, the numbers are so small that we might be getting down to that point where some of these
So as you see, the number has dropped from 97 to 3. That was the last one before it went down to 3. That is absolutely.
See, some of those who are missing, who may be, deceased and lost in the debris, it may take a very long time. And in some cases, and this is tragic, it happens a lot of times in flash floods, we may never find the remains because of all the debris that's covering them up.
We're seeing on screen here an update from Fox 4 Dallas. They say that a 16-member search and rescue team from the Czech Republic was among the groups that came to Texas to help with search and rescue efforts in Kerr County. some of the best of humanity that we see during times like this, Hal. Lots of people coming. I remember the story, too, of
Now, it is great that we got all what we needed out of that video, but it is great that people come together from, if you don't live there, just come when you know in a time of need to help other people out. That is amazing. Some people really have that gift for helping people, or really just like anybody, like I say, anybody who are firefighters, search and rescue, those people do an amazing job and they should be celebrated and enjoyed. Now, I understand how they want to keep all the resources and everything out there, because at the end of the day, it's a human life that we're trying to protect, that we're trying to save. So yes, all the resources you can, but resources, we got to be honest about it. Resources do cost money. So I understand how they finally let the number down, say, yeah, it's only 3 people missing. So they don't need that many people out there. Of course it would help, but they have to understand they got to save resources for anything else that could come up. Different floods, because we are in the flooding season, and you don't want to use up, and I don't know if this sounds harsh, but you don't want to use up all your resources on this one event that happened and then not have anything else for the next event. But tell me your thoughts. Oh, I do want to say, so if I just did a little research on it, and it says that from the July 4th flooding, the final casualty toll is 135. 135 lives were lost on that day from that flooding. Campers, little girls, boys, children, men, grandparents, everyone you can imagine. Pets. Remember to always keep the family members and everybody in our prayers. It's a sad thing to see. End of the day, make sure you go get help. I'm gonna say this all the time, just go get help. And don't be afraid to go get help. Some people think it makes them weak to go seek out help when they need it. No, don't think like that. Yep. So, yep. I'll keep everybody updated to see if that number of 3 people finally drops down to 0. If it does, I'll probably make another video on it, showing that we're finished with the flood. But they're still going hard, still trying to make sure that they account for every single person. But like they said in the video, we don't know if they'll ever be able to find their bodies, because they're just under so much stuff and rubble. Sad and tragic. But that is it with that one. That is, oh God. Mother Nature got to be respected. And we got to, hopefully they do more for the flood warnings. Sounds like they didn't have the sirens out there. They're going to have to do more. And I think people are still questioning on if they did enough at the beginning, or had enough resources in place in the very beginning that would have saved some of these people. Now, I don't know. I don't think you can blame anybody for this. It's a place where it's known for flooding. Maybe it could have came out early. I don't know. But yeah. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But that is wild. Now, we got to get into the WNBA. The WNBA. So, I don't watch WNBA. Well, I watched a few games with Caitlin Clark, some with Angel Reese. And that's the first time I started watching it, because she was making them threes. Now she's throwing it, going crazy. But that is crazy. So the WNBA came out wearing shirts, basically saying, pay us what you owe us. Now, what I've done my research on is that the WNBA haven't been profitable since the beginning. But hey, we're going to get right into this video, and then we're also going to Nate the Lawyer, if you know who that is, go check him out. But Nate the Lawyer, he did a good video. So a little bit, I'm going to watch a little bit of that video where he breaks down exactly where all the money goes and who gets the money out of the salary, so we can understand it. And then just maybe do a little search and see what exactly they haven't been profiting. So, but let's jump right over into that. So let's get into it.
WNBA All-Stars made a statement over the weekend in Indianapolis wearing these shirts. They read, "Pay us what you owe us." It came amid the latest round of collective bargaining negotiations. Players didn't think a recent meeting produced enough progress with a late October deadline looming. Caitlin Clark says it was powerful seeing so many of her fellow players together.
So, pay us what you owe us. That's what they was wearing instead of their warm-up gear.
For myself, that was the best part of it, being in the room, and there's over 40 other players in this league, and I'm sure a lot more would have loved to be there if they were in Indianapolis, and I think that's the most powerful thing, is all the girls from across the league just being in that room together.
If a contract deal isn't reached by October, some players, including All-Star Angel Reese, have mentioned they might walk out.
In 2020.
So we'll get into that. I'm going to fast forward a little bit into this video, but what are your thoughts? Do you think that they are getting paid what they deserve? I think my thinking, just because I've done my research on it, is if the company is not profitable, where are they getting more money? Why do they need more money? If you're not making enough money from your job, which the WNBA is a job, if they're not paying you enough, most of them go through and get other revenues. They do brand deals, they do social media, stuff like that. But it's crazy. But let's break down where it breaks down more into what. So let's get over and just fast forward just a tad bit. There it is. So
Came to being. In 1996, the NBA and its then commissioner David Stern launched a women's league, the WNBA. The men's league was going through a huge boom with Michael Jordan at the helm, and a women's league played in the summertime would provide a full year of basketball and would also help grow the sport internationally.
So, like I said, this is Nate the Lawyer's. He did a whole video breaking down where the money is going, and it's a very good video. Go check it out if you haven't. I'll leave a link to it in the comments or a link to it in the description when I actually break this down.
Nationally, the NBA and its owners would own the WNBA.
It survived because of the great support the NBA has given it over many years. So there's a reason why the WNBA is the longest tenured women's professional sports league in the country. Think about this, by double any other.
WNBA team owners received 50% stake in 2002. In 2022, the league raised $75 million from a group of investors, the league's first ever outside investment and the largest in women's sports history. They received 16% stake in return, leaving only 42% left for WNBA and its owners. But this also means only 42% of national-level revenue, like TV and sponsorship deals, trickles down to the WNBA owners. The remaining goes to the NBA and its owners, 5 of which are also WNBA owners, and the outside investor group. The current TV deal is worth about $60 million in 2024. Only about $2 million of that goes to each team.
Now, I know there were a lot of numbers thrown at you, but let's break this down pretty simply. All right, so to understand this issue, you have to understand how both the NBA and the WNBA distribute its money. Let's start with the NBA. For the NBA, you have the owners and you have the players, and they take 50% of basketball-related revenue. Now, in 2023...
That makes sense. No one invested, so it's only the owners and the WNBA, so they split 50-50. That makes sense to me.
That revenue was $10.5 billion, and they've had an agreement since 1983 that they would share revenue 50-50. Now, our next step is to go to basketballreference.com. They list every NBA contract for the 2023-2024 season, and there were 496 contracts, as you can see on the screen. Now, if you just add up the money for the 2024-2025 season to see how much the players get paid, it should be around $5 billion, and I did the math. It's exactly 5.236 $490,614. That's how much the NBA paid the players. So the NBA was simple, players and owners. But the WNBA gets really, really complicated. First, you got the WNBA players, they get a percentage. Then you have the WNBA owners. They also get a percentage. Along with that, you have the NBA owners who also get a percentage of WNBA revenue because they
all it is too many people getting their hands in some of the money. But that is who they invested. That is who invested in the WNBA in the first place. So
put in between 250 to 300 million to keep the league going this long. And you have the outside investment group who spent $75 million to get 60.
So, like he said, got 4 different breakdowns instead of just the 2, the 50-50, like the NBA has. So that makes sense.
15% of basketball related revenue. So these are the people who must get paid by the WNBA if it ever generates any revenue. And this is how the percentages are broken down. The WNBA players and owners take 42% of basketball related revenue. The NBA, who put in that $250 to $300 million, they get 42% of basketball related revenue. And those investors who put in $75 million, they get 16% of basketball related revenue. Now, if you split it out, it turns out that the players for the WNBA can only really get a max of 21% of basketball related revenue. And remember, that's in contrast to the NBA players who get 50% of basketball related revenue. So let's say the WNBA made $10 billion like the NBA. How would that look? Well, in that case, the players would get $2.1 billion. Now remember, the men were getting $5 billion, but the women would only get $2.1 billion, $3 billion less than the men because of how everyone has to be paid. The owners for the WNBA would get $2.1 billion. The NBA would get $4.2 billion, but that's because they invested almost $1/3 billion into the league. And then that private investor group would also get $1.
All right, so that's pretty much, we're going to stop it there, but you can understand that it's broken down differently than the NBA, which is very simple. I'm a numbers man, so that makes sense to me. Now, what we need to look at, what we need to look at now is how much, well, that's revenue now. That's revenue. Now, profits. So let's look at what. So we're just going to do a quick Google search. What's been the profits of the WNBA? So let's jump right over into this. Good old AI to help us out. So the WNBA, this is right now. This is AI now. This is AI. What it says. Let me go ahead and zoom in, son, because I know people won't. All right. The WNBA has not generated a profit in its history. Now remember, this is a business now. At the end of the day, this is a business. The WNBA has not generated profits in its history. So, despite revenue increases, including a projected $180 to $200 million in 2024. Now, this is, Caitlin Clark did a help, and Angel Reese, there's a big following behind both of those. So, yes, I can see that. The league continues to lose money. Estimated suggests that the league loses around 10 to 20 million annually. Now, remember, this is a business now. A business loses every single year 10 to 20 million. Majority that business would not last for long if it was a regular business. Let's be honest about it. Let's be honest. Now, and some reports indicate that in this past year, it was up to 50 million. Yes, $50 million in losses. Now, the NBA, like we talked about, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA with the former and current commission admitting to at least $10 million per year. So, tell me this. What are your thoughts? Do you think that they deserve a profit increase? A salary increase? Now, I think Caitlin, when we first talked about it, was like 80,000 is what she made that year when she first got her contract. Now, if I'm wrong, tell me. This is somewhere around there. But they make 80,000, 70, 80,000. That's good. They're not going to get up to the NBA status just because they don't make that much money. Where is the money going to come from? Do they want to take, because remember, it's broken down into 4 different categories of how the money gets distributed. You have the players for the WNBA. You have the coaches for the WNBA, or the owners for the WNBA. Then you have the NBA, who subsidizes it. And then you have the investors. So 4 of those. Where are they going to take money from? I doubt that they're going to take money from the owners. So do they want to take some money from the investors to get a higher percentage? Or they want to take some money from the NBA to get a higher percentage? I don't know. At the end of the day, I think that they get another job if they don't feel like they're making enough. Now, like I said, they was making. Hold on, we can do a quick. WNBA. Quick search. So her base salary for the first year, 2024, was $76,000. So a little close to 80,000, like what I was saying, and it will increase in the next year's, reaching 97. So close to 100,000 in 2027. Good salary. That's a good salary. Now, is it good for compared to a NBA player? No. But at the end of the day, they are not NBA players. They don't generate the revenue that they do. Now, some people say, well, men should support them more. I mean, why do we go straight to men to support them more? I don't really know a lot of women who watch WNBA. A lot of women like to watch the NBA because of the players. I mean, now I remember Shaq, I think it was Shaq. Yeah, Shaq, back in the day. You know how Shaq been doing, but he mentioned that it'd be best if they lower the goal. Women got upset about it. Why do we have to lower the goal? We can shoot on the same hoop as men do. I think, be honest, that would be the one way you get more women dunking. You get more women dunking on the ball. You see a girl dunk on another girl? Yeah, I'll watch it. Come on now. That would be crazy. I think that would increase the revenue, and then they can naturally, just because of the percentage they break down, their salaries will increase because of that. I don't think that they have any room to change the salary breakdown as it is now. Not at all. But like I said, that is the little thing that's happening with the WNBA. Tell me your thoughts. Do you think that they deserve more money? Where do you think the money should come from? Now remember, they don't make a profit. Now they haven't made a profit in history. Where do you think they should just be happy with what they're getting now? Now remember, they've lost $10 million every year, $10 to $20 million every year. Losses in profit. So revenue is so much, but then their expenses is even more than that, which is $20 million, $10 to $20 million. Do you know a business that has survived losing $20 million every year, and this past year losing $50 million? I don't know. Somebody brought this up. So Anton Daniels, if you go and watch him if you haven't, but he brought it up that I think it was the Amazon CEO. So 1 year he made, I think it was $200 million. And then the next year, because the profits was down in Amazon, his salary went down. His salary went down to, I think it was about $2 million. And so the profits may play a big role in how much you're going to get. I say that, but those are my thoughts on the WNBA. Tell me if I'm thinking wrong. Tell me if you disagree with me. Well, main thing is we have a discussion about it. Why do you feel that they deserve more money? Now, and then tell me, do you watch WNBA? And do you know a lot of people who watch WNBA, go to the games? Because the stadiums feel like, at least when I'm looking at them, don't look crowded. I mean, there'll be some people in there, of course, especially when Caitlin Clark is playing. Yeah, it'll be filled out. But some of the other ones, no. I see some people, but don't be filled to the brim like NBA games. They don't be filled to the brim of the stadium, overpacked, all the tickets are sold like the NBA games. But like I said, leave a comment, tell me what you're thinking. But hey, you got the right to demand whatever you want, and then see what happens. I don't think that's going to change much, but Hey, it's up to the. They got to go through all the 4 different people, or 3 different people, from the owners, the NBA, and the investors, to decide what they're going to do. Now, got to get into a little something heavier. A body of a 9-year-old girl was found. But let's jump over into this. So we got a short video to watch, and then it goes into a longer breakdown of it. Well, let's jump into it.
This morning, New York State Police investigating after the body of a missing 9-year-old girl was found yesterday. The father of Melina Fratellin reported his daughter went missing Saturday night near Lake George, having the police issue an Amber Alert. On Sunday, searchers found her body 40 miles northeast of that lake in a nearby town. Investigators say the father's timeline of events, though, are pretty inconsistent. At this time, authorities are still trying to determine what exactly took place, who's responsible. No one has been taken into custody.
So now we're going to get over into it, breaks it down a little bit more. But that is a 9-year-old, and they said the father's timeline is not adding up. You know what that sounds like to me? He did it. It sounds like to me he did it. But let's jump over into this next video.
Now the urgent search for a missing 9-year-old girl ends in tragedy in upstate New York. Melina Fratellin was first reported missing by her father late last night in Lake George. Today, her body was found in the town of Ticonderoga. An Amber Alert had been issued, but now police say she may not have been abducted at all. Here's ABC's Allison Cossack.
The desperate search for 9-year-old Melina Fratellin ending in tragedy. Investigators finding her body in upstate New York. Authorities say her father, Luciano, had called 911 at about 10 p.m. Saturday night to report his daughter had possibly been abducted in the town of Lake George, a popular summer destination in the Adirondacks.
Was she at the home?
Melina and her father are both from Canada. An Amber Alert was sent out about 1:30 a.m. Sunday, saying the child was taken under circumstances that lead police to believe they are in imminent danger.
His 9-year-old daughter was possibly abducted in a white van, went south on the interstate.
Multiple law enforcement agencies were involved in the search that included New York State Police Canine and aviation units. But authorities are now saying there's no indication of an abduction. Police say as the case progressed, law enforcement says there were inconsistencies in the father's account of events and the timeline he provided. Melina's body was found Sunday in the town of Ticonderoga, about an hour away from where she was reported missing. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
Now that is crazy. Now let me see if I got any. You always got to do your research. Let's see if there's any more else. Let's see if they have any more details about it. Whoa. So let's see. Let's jump over right into this breakdown of it. So let's jump into that. Let's see what it's talking about. So it says the father vacation with his daughter, as described, have gone terribly wrong. He pulled over near exit 22 on the Northway in Lake Georgia and ducked into a woods to urinate. He later tells the police that he returns to find his daughter gone. A white van was fleeing south after 2 men forced her inside. He told 911 operators around 10 p.m. Saturday, the call triggered the Amber Alert and the search for the 9-year-old Canadian girl. Now, my first question. So he gave a detail of what he saw, the van fleeing away. Why didn't he jump in his car and chase after her? Maybe he did, and we haven't got to that part yet, but if I think that the car, my daughter's gone and I see a car fleeing away, and I think my daughter's in the car, I'm hopping in my car, driving as fast as I can to catch up to it. I don't care. And we're chasing it down. I don't care until I run out of gas. If I'm about to run out of gas, I'm going to have to hit the car, hopefully, and then knock it over so we can, I don't know. I'm going to try to think of something to do something. I don't know. But, all right. So state police says the story quickly, disintegrated. He fabricated the initial report of the abduction. Captain Roberts, the base leader of the State Police Bureau of Criminal Investigation, told Report Monday her body was found in a remote part of her body was hidden in a pond, trooper said. Her father has been charged with murder. Dressed in a disposable suit and boots after the police seized his clothing, he was arraigned on Monday in the town court. A not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. The 45-year-old was sent back to the county jail where he is being held on charges of second-degree murder and concealment of a human corpse. Second degree. So not first degree. So no, from remembering it right, we can do some research on it. But first degree means there was an intent to kill. So second degree. And concealment of a human corpse. He spoke briefly in the court, tells that the address listed in him on the in Montreal was incorrect. Let's see. He loves luxury cars. He said that he could not afford an attorney. And he was represented by a public defender. Let's see. The state police report that early Monday that Canadian-based businessman who has dual citizenship in Ethiopia and Italy and a Canadian visa was in the U.S. with his daughter on vacation. They arrived July 11th, visiting places in Connecticut and New York, including New York City, and was due to return on Sunday to Montreal. Surveillance footage at restaurants showed that they was at the Springs around 5:30 Saturday, and she called her mother about an hour later and seemed fine. And then sometime between then and the 911 call, the father killed his child and left her in a shallow end of pond in the Tondaroga. State Forest Rangers found her there around 10:50 a.m. on Sunday. The criminal complaint says that he concealed her body by positioning her under a log. Jesus. The autopsy was done on Monday to determine the cause of death. A motive is under investigation, and the state police said that the girl's mother had full custody of the child. And though the couple split up in 2019, the mother did not believe her ex-husband posed a danger to his daughter. Well, they're saying that how can you kill your daughter? Your own daughter? Or your own child? That is crazy. So the search we talked about that the search did an Amber Alert. They felt like it was imminent danger. Fielded 800 calls on Sunday. The child body was found in the State Department by a State Department environmental conservation police who was taking part in the grid search on Sunday. He is due back in court at 1 p.m. on Friday. This man is sick. How can you kill your own daughter, own child in general? And then you lead the story would have, as soon as he would have said that he saw a van driving south, why didn't you, I don't understand why he didn't jump in the car and chase after him. Maybe he say he was still looking around the area to see him, but that's the only thing he saw. He just thought it was just a random car and didn't think anything of it. Yeah, the story is awful. Like, this man is sick. Now, if he did and he gets convicted, he needs to be under the jail. Some people deserve to be under the jail. Not just in jail, under the jail. Stay there forever. Now, tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me, do you think it sounds like everybody, they putting everything together? Sounds like they put everything together. What are your thoughts? How much time do you think he should get? That is a good question. life. Life is the only certain to me. But that is crazy. I'll keep everybody updated on if anything else comes out of this, but I saw that and I just had to talk about it. That is absolutely wild. 9 years old. In another country. Think you're with your dad having a good time. And you end up dying. They ain't say anything, but I hope, I hate to say this, but I hope it was nothing sexual. Jesus, I hope it wasn't. Some people are sick. I hope he wasn't that sick. He's still sick for killing his daughter. But Jesus, I hope he wasn't that sick. God, I hope he wasn't. That is crazy. I know the mother is reeling right now. So let's keep her in our prayers. Any of her other family members. Because that grief has to be terrible. I have never experienced that type of grief before. Let's keep them in our prayers. Now we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot over into... So everybody's been talking about the Jacksonville traffic stop. So the traffic stop, I've just seen a quick clip of it. Police busted out the window and punched him right in the face. But let's jump right over into that video. That is wild. So let's jump over into that.
Tonight, a viral video shows a shocking interaction between local police officers and a driver. The reaction from an attorney as police launch an internal investigation. Now taking a live look downtown where the First Alert weather team is tracking some relief on the way after the hottest weekend of the year. Good evening, I'm Yona Gavino. A man who got video of Jacksonville sheriff's officers pulling him out of his car and hitting him has now hired high-profile lawyers. We told you at 6:30 about the video that has...
Yeah. If you did nothing wrong and you following all the commands and they just go out and start beating on you, well, following all their reasonable commands. Let's be honest about this. But they tell you get out the car. I'm just going to go ahead and get out the car. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want any of that. But getting beat on, and I don't know what we got to watch the video. I want to know what happened, because the video I saw with him just breaking the window and punch him in the face looked crazy to me. It wasn't like a grab to pull you out. Literally a punch. But let's see.
Started a JSO investigation and has tens of thousands of people reacting online. Action News Jack's Nicholas Brooks is live at the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Nicholas, the man who represented George Floyd's family, is going to represent him.
Yeah, and lawyers confirmed the man's name as William McNeil Jr. He said that he hired Ben Crump and Harry Daniels. And we also spoke for attorney ourselves, who said if the video tells the whole story, then the man may have a case against JSO. And we warn you, the video you're about to watch may be disturbing to some.
I will say that video seems very over the top in terms of the officer's behavior.
Chris Carson is one of thousands of people reacting tonight to a video that has started a JSO investigation. The video shows a February 19th traffic stop. According to William McNeil Jr., it all started when an officer pulled him over, claiming he needed to have his headlights on in cloudy weather.
I said, so what I did wrong? Yeah. He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather.
The driver says he questioned the stop and asked for a supervisor. That's when things escalated.
Can you call your supervisor? All right, go for it.
An officer breaks the car.
Back that up a tad bit.
Yeah. He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather.
The driver says he questioned the stop and asked for a supervisor. That's when things escalated.
Can you call your supervisor? All right, go for it.
An officer breaks the car window and hits the driver in the face. The driver puts his hands up and asks, what's going on? But then another punch is thrown. Carson says the officer's use of force appears unjustified.
I mean, it doesn't even sound like there was really any criminal.
Now that I don't know what to say about that, to be honest. That is absolutely wild. Wow. Now it's definitely within your right to ask for a supervisor, but that is, hold on, let's Gotta back that up some. That is.
An officer breaks the car window
glass.
and hits the driver in
Boom.
the face. The driver puts his hands up and asks, "What's going on?" But then another punch is thrown. Carson says the officer's use of force appears unjustified.
I mean, it doesn't even.
Now, I hope they had their body camera on, because that's going to play a big factor into this. Because it's the skipping around. Maybe they just skipped around. I don't know what actually happened, but that looks bad to me.
It's not like there was really any criminal behavior that was alleged on the part of the gentleman. I mean, it's a traffic stop. Happened hundreds of times a day.
The video does not end there. Officers then take him to the ground. The driver said he got a chipped tooth, 9 stitches in his lips, a concussion, and even had short-term memory loss after.
There definitely are circumstances where force can be warranted, but from everything that we're seeing in the context of this video, I don't really see it there. Frankly, it seems unnecessary.
GSO released a statement Sunday saying it has launched an internal investigation into the incident. Carson says the legal issues go beyond just policy violations. He believes civil action may be possible or even criminal charges.
We have seen cases over the years, I've handled cases where law enforcement officers are actually charged with crimes for things that they did in the course of their police work. That is something, albeit it's rare, but it certainly legally can happen.
We did look to see if McNeil was facing charges. A man with the same name arrested that day pleaded guilty to driving with a suspended license and resisting an officer.
So that is crazy. God, oh my God. So he breaks the window. Let's break that down a little bit. He breaks the window.
An officer breaks the car window.
Breaks the window. Then
hits the driver
hits him in the face. Now, right there, from that moment, I would be scared. I don't know what's going to happen. Then the question is, do you fight back? Because if you fight back, well, hopefully they got their body. If you wasn't recording, and hopefully they got the body cameras on. That's all I can say. Hopefully they have their body cameras on, because that is crazy. Now, like I always say, there are some bad people in any kind of profession. Now, I don't think all police officers are bad, but clearly there are some are. Some are. There needs to be higher psyche valves, but that is crazy. So after he punches
the face, the driver puts his hands up and asks, "What's going on?" But then another punch is thrown.
That is crazy.
Asks, "What's going on?" But then another punch is
right
thrown.
to the chin.
Carson says the officer's use of force appears unjustified.
I mean, it doesn't even sound like
I unless we see some body cam footage that tells otherwise, like he swung at him first. Even I can't see. You can't say anything about that. You can't see any way around this. Excessive use of force. The officers, if they did this, just like the video said, and there was no, I don't know what they could pull. I don't know if they're going to be like he got a weapon. They were scared he had a weapon. I don't know what they can say. We just got to wait. Hopefully we get some body cam footage to where we can break that down, because that is crazy. Truly crazy. Now, tell me your thoughts. What do you think should happen? My thinking is, it goes to the cops who did this. If they did it, like how it's shown in the video, they should be fired, pension taken. You got to make an example. You got to be harsh on these type of stuff, especially for any kind of person especially police officers who commit crimes. You got to be harsh on them, because they are the people who we supposed to look up to. Is that supposed to respect them and call them in our time of need? You can't make it to where the civilians are more worried of what the cops will do than the situation that's happening. So yes, fired, pension gone, and criminal charges. I don't know what assault. I don't know. Then Jesus. That is crazy. Now, if you disagree with what I said, tell me. Tell me. If you know something else. This is the only video I'm looking at. If you have a different angle that shows, oh, well, something crazy happened, hey, tell me about it. But just based on what I'm seeing now, does not look good for them. Does not look good for the police officers. And they should be ashamed of themselves and arrested. That is crazy. Police officers are supposed to be people you call when you feeling unsafe, and you call them to help the situation. But just like in any kind of profession, there can be horrible people who don't deserve to wear the badge. Simple as that. They don't deserve to wear the badge. That is wild. Now, we're going to go over to Oregon. Oregon now. Seems like 2 people were missing after going tubing. Now, if you don't know what tubing is, it's where you get in a tube and you lay down and in the sun, hot sun, and flow down the river. It could be rapid. It could be something like that. But that is, like I say, just like what happened with Theo, Malcolm Jamal Warner. The ocean is a very scary place. River, anything with high, fast currents can be very deadly. So you have to be safe, people. Please be safe. It's summertime. People are going out, having a good time. But Mother Nature doesn't care. The rapids don't care. The fast currents don't care that you're out there. That it's summertime. No. Just be careful. But let's jump right over into this video.
A popular summer float on the Deschutes River ended in tragedy near Dillon Falls. Officials responded on Saturday just before 3 p.m. to a report that 6 people had gone over the falls. 3 were rescued, 1 was found deceased, and as of Sunday, 2 remain missing. A multi-agency recovery operation has been underway ever since. With drones, canines, and search boats, people recreating in the area took notice of the efforts.
We saw a lot of resources, search and rescue at Benham Falls, and then sheriffs and sheriffs along the trail above the river.
And a guy with a remote drone that was probably searching.
Signage does exist to warn floaters about the last takeout point before the dangerous drop. But if you're not paying attention or are unfamiliar with the area, the risk can be high.
The issue with that spot is just right around the bend from the Deus area is where the rapids begin. And if people get caught there, it's almost impossible for them to be able to get out.
As recovery efforts continue, the sheriff's office is urging the public to stay away from the area so teams can work without disruption.
If you approach and you see a lot of crews there, it's best to just remain out of the area so that they can work that section of the river and do their jobs.
This tragedy
makes sense. Yeah, let the people do their jobs. Don't interfere. That is crazy. Let's keep going.
Tragedy serves as a grim reminder to always be extremely cautious when recreating in Central Oregon.
It's pretty solemn riding out here today.
Yeah.
Just praying for the families and the 3 survivors in this accident. It's just really sad. Know where you're floating. Know the rapids and the falls in this river.
Wear your PFD. Always wear your PFD.
The sheriff's office says they're prepared to continue recovery operations as long as it takes, using every available resource.
The recovery efforts will continue as long as necessary. We have a lot of resources at our disposal.
We thank you for watching.
Now that is wow. Now, tubing. I've gone tubing when I was younger. Not really my thing, but I did it. But you have to be careful out there. They said that 3 people were safe, but 2 other people are still missing. Like they said, we got to pray for the family. Pray for hopefully that they are found alive, but we don't know. We truly don't know. Make sure you're always wearing your life jacket. Please don't go out there without a life jacket. Some people be like, I can swim. I don't need one. No. Those rapids are too strong, and it's going to be stronger than you can swim. Come on now, be honest. You can't swim against that current. Make sure you're wearing your life jacket and be safe. Because it can happen to anybody who's out there. You know, you never know. You hit the turn too hard. Somebody flies out the boat. Hopefully someone can grab you. But if they fall in there, it's hard to pull them back up. That is crazy. Now tell me your thoughts. Have you gone tubing? Do you go tubing a lot? How are you making sure that you're safe? Do you go down the fast currents? And have you ever fell out the tube and feared for your life? That is a good question. Have you ever fell out the tube and feared for your life? Or at least been scared? You don't have to fear for your life, but were you scared after you fell out the tube? That is wild. So we'll keep up to see if they find those missing people. But wow, that's crazy. Now we have to go over into LA. So I don't know if you've seen it, but a vehicle strikes a LA crowd and at least 30 people hurt. 30 people. Now I don't know what's going through someone's mind when they drive through a crowd. Remember, it's happened before with different parades and stuff like that. People just driving through the crowd. But is this different than when they're... Yeah, this got to be different. I was thinking about because if protesters, you have to have protesters, and then they'll stop the car. People just keep driving. But driving through a cloud outside, I think it was outside of a bar. Let's go into it. Oh, y'all can't even see it. That's the best thing. Let's get into it.
And we're following the latest on our breaking story out of East Hollywood. At least 30 people injured after a driver plowed his vehicle into a crowd early this morning. The LA Fire Department says 7 of those injured outside the music venue are in critical condition. CNN's Julia Vargas-Jones is outside the venue. Julia, what more are officials saying about the driver, why all of this happened? Any new information?
Yeah, look, they're still looking for that motive, Fred, but they are piecing together a bit of a timeline of what happened here between this individual being in the car and dragged out and then eventually shot. I want to play for you just a soundbite from the police explaining what they know so far.
The driver of that vehicle was pulled out and a physical altercation ensued where the bystanders were physically assaulting him. During that altercation, somebody produced a firearm and shot that driver of the vehicle.
Hold on. Let's back that up a tad bit. So they get dragged down and get beat on. That part is understandable. I can understand that. All right, yeah, probably shooting them understandable too. Let me see.
The driver of that vehicle was pulled out and a physical altercation ensued where the bystanders were physically assaulting him. During that altercation, somebody produced a firearm and shot that driver of the vehicle. The driver was transported to a local hospital in unknown condition. The shooter in this situation is still outstanding, and we consider him armed and dangerous.
And Fred, this is their priority right now, is to find that shooter. They said they are still investigating, trying to find that man. But I want to just bring this home to you that this is a neighborhood, East Hollywood, just east of Hollywood and between Los Feliz and Silver Lake. It's a part of town that is generally deemed safe.
Now let's talk about that. So we'll get to a little stopping point. Let's talk about that. So it's understandable. You drive through a crowd. Yes, the crowd. If you get stopped, they're going to pull you out and beat on you. I can understand that. Truly understand it. Now, at the time when the gun is pulled out and he is shot, at that point, your life is no longer in threat. Yes, you're angry because someone did threaten your life. But in terms of self-defense, if you wanted to claim self-defense, at that point, I don't see it happening because he's already pulled out and he's already being beat on. So what point was bringing out the gun? Was the gun mainly because you were upset of what the whole situation happened and that you felt that he threatened your life, so you wanted to hurt him. I can see that happening with some people, but you can't. That's why he's on the run now, because I'm assuming he understands that he can't claim self-defense, or he can try to claim it, but maybe the lawyers, if you get a good lawyer, he can try to make the plea for self-defense. Your mental state was off because your life was just threatened, so you didn't understand and you thought you were still on. Then I don't know what he could say. I don't know what he can say. But yeah, tell me your thoughts. Do you think that? Yes, him being beat on because he drove through a crowd. Yes, I can see that. Yes, that is. I don't want to say that's fine, but well, it is fine. Tell me your thoughts about the shooter. Do you think it was within his right to shoot him? Do you think he can claim self-defense? But let's keep going. Let's finish up. Let's go through this video.
Wouldn't necessarily expect this kind of an altercation or a criminal activity to be happening, or for someone to pull out a gun outside of a nightclub. It is a part of Los Angeles that has a vibrant nightlife, and that is part of the shock of the story this morning. Mayor Karen Bass even saying, earlier today that her heart goes out to Angelenos and all the victims impacted by this, and saying that there will be a full investigation into what happened. But we do have reporting at this point, Fred, that has basically discarded any connection to terrorism of this incident, and also any further criminal intent, aside from the fact that this driver, authorities believe, was intoxicated at the time of this incident, Fred.
Okay. Julia Vargas Jones, thanks so much. All right, joining me right now for more.
First of all, simple as this. Don't get behind the wheel if you're drinking. Simple as that. And if you drive into a crowd, probably going to get beat up. As simple as that. Let's keep going.
Is Eric Scott, Public Information Officer with the Los Angeles Fire Department. Great to see you. So let's begin with the scene itself. Walk us through what those first responders encountered when they got there.
Yeah, as you can imagine, it was a very chaotic scene. So first off, we want to say that our hearts go out to everybody that was impacted by this traumatic event. Fortunately, we responded very quickly. It was a rather distressing scene. As you can imagine, at 2 a.m., it's dark outside in East Hollywood. We just had early reports of a vehicle into a crowd, so we didn't know if it was legitimate or how significant. So very busy sidewalk outside of a nightclub. Numerous individuals were present throughout that area because you had a taco hot dog stand that people were lined up in front of. You had a valet podium that people were lined in front. Also people coming out of a nightclub. Therefore, there was a lot of people. When that vehicle went up on that curb, it struck a totally of 30 different individuals. Fortunately, there's no structural damage to the building or extrication that we had to pull people out from rubble or anything. But the scale of the response was significant. We had 100 and find out those that were most significant and in immediate need and treat them, and then transport them to the appropriate different hospitals based upon what their injuries were.
7 of the 30 that were injured were transported in critical condition. 6 were considered serious. Do you have an update at all on the conditions of people?
So that is accurate. We don't have an update because once they leave our care as paramedics that are the highest level of medical authority outside a hospital setting, we don't follow up necessarily. We give them to the emergency rooms. But yeah, we did encounter 30 people total, 23 we had to transport. Like you said, 7 were critical. So when you think of just a massive blunt objects.
23 people they had to actually transport to the hospital. 7 were critical.
Hitting people from contusions, abrasions, some significant injuries to those 7 individuals. 6 were serious. 10 were transported in fair condition, and then 7 of those 30 actually said, we're okay, they're declining transport after we evaluated them. But we had to work real close with LAPD as well to secure the scene. They were a big help in maintaining public safety throughout.
So in all the frenzy, from this morning, paramedics, realized that they actually had a gunshot victim in the mix as well from a secondary assessment, of the driver. Talk to us about that. Are you able to tell us, where he was shot, whether he was conscious, or any details about that?
We'll say they were conscious, but we don't go into, patient privacy medical reports. That would be inappropriate. But you are correct. We did treat and transport the driver of that vehicle who had sustained injuries. You had reported what police officers had stated, that individual was pulled out of the vehicle, assaulted, and somebody pulled out a gun, and that individual was shot. And that's part of LAPD's ongoing investigation. They're combing through all the debris and talking to witnesses, and they're doing an outstanding job. But I want to end by saying we're very fortunate there was no deaths, if you think about it. When you have 30...
That is very fortunate. But injury, let's thank God that there was no deaths from this. That is getting struck by hitting a crowd of 30 people, drunk driving.
3 individuals that were injured and 7 critical. So we were very appreciative of the coordinated effort of our public safety partners, and we remain committed to supporting the victims and the community.
Yeah. All right. Eric Scott with the LA Fire Department, thank you so much for your time.
Our pleasure.
Now, we're learning a lot more about this breaking news out of East Hollywood, where police say a driver was dragged from his car and shot by a bystander after crashing into a crowd of people and then injuring at least 30 people. The LA Fire Department says 7 of those injured outside the music venue are in critical condition.
People were helping each other out because this was a nightclub. People were waiting to go inside there. They're ordering tacos. So they're seeing people that they don't even know are injured. They're stepping in to help them out.
CNN's Julia Vargas Jones is outside the venue. Julia, there were an incredible, sequence of events taking place outside that venue. So what's the focus now in the investigation?
Well, the focus and the priority here, Fred, is to find the person who fired the weapon onto that driver who plowed into that crowd. That person is still at large. Now, we're piecing together what happened here. What we know from video that CNN has reviewed is we see this driver.
Here's a question. You going to turn him in? He shot the person. Are you going to be the one to turn him in? If you know who did it, you going to turn him in? Well, that's a question. Let's finish up this video.
Driver driving into the crowd. After that happens and he injures more than 30 people, he's then taken out of the car. And that is when we have a fight ensue there. He's punched. He's being beaten by the crowd outside that bar. And then someone pulls out a gun and shoots that driver. That authorities say that person is still at large. He's considered armed and dangerous. But there's more to the situation that police is saying is just peculiar. Take a listen.
This is not common at all. I would say in my 18 years as a law enforcement officer in the LAPD, I would say this is first of its kind that I'm aware of.
What? Plowing into the car or shooting?
And that, Fred, also goes to just where we are here. East Hollywood, it is a part of Los Angeles that has a lot of nightlife, a lot of commerce, but it's not a particularly violent location where you would expect somebody to pull out a gun during an altercation like that, even if that did happen outside a nightclub at 2 in the morning. Now, we have from CNN's John Miller reporting that says that.
Now, I will say they're plating a lot of stuff on the gunman, but I don't know. A drunk man plowed through 30 people in the car. Maybe I've been desensitized from it, but I can understand them getting him out and beating on him. I can understand that. And just from all the stuff that's happening, I can understand someone, not understand, but I can see that someone would end up, after he's pulled out the car, pull out a gun and shoot him. That might just be the areas that I've seen, just all the stuff that I've reviewed. But it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibilities. They're not going to care that, oh, well, it's no longer self-defense. They are simply, oh, you tried to run me over, and they're going to get their get back. They're going to try to get their get back. Now, That is a crazy story. I did not expect that someone pulled him out. So he got drunk. They pulled him out, beat on him, which is understandable to me. And then someone pulled out a gun after that, shot him, and they on the run. Police are still looking for him to this day. Still looking for him. I think that video was about 2 days ago. So this was probably about 3 days ago where this actually happened. And they're still looking for him. At least that's the last thing I've seen. They're still on the search. Now here's a question. Like I said, is there a question? Do you think someone's going to actually turn him in? Or are the people who were hit happy that someone actually did that? But that is it for that video. Be sure to leave your comments of what you think. And if I said anything wrong, please tell me. We can talk about it. Remember, like and subscribe. Go ahead and like the videos. And hey, leave comments. Let's talk about it. But it's a crazy world we live in. Crazy world we live in. Now we're going to pivot over something a little lighter. Monster Energy. Monster Energy. I don't know if y'all seen this, but a mouse, yes, a mouse, was found in a Monster Energy can by a woman. Now, it's crazy because I was just thinking about this as soon as I saw this. When I was younger, it's bad, but we was drinking, we used to love Monster Energy. Because this was the time when we were at the mall every weekend. We'd walk over, because me and my friends live walking distance from the mall. So we'd walk over to the mall and be in there. As soon as we get to the mall, you know where we're going? To the little store that's inside the mall. Get a Monster, drink it, walk around. Every weekend, we out there. Have Monsters. I can't imagine sipping on it. It tastes weird. Pour it out. And then I look inside, there's a whole mouse inside of the can. I'd immediately throw up. Yes, and yes, because I think the lady's suing. I would sue too. Oh my God, I can't imagine. Truly can't imagine. But let's jump over into that video. Short little video talks about it. Let's get into it.
Los Angeles police are still searching for a gunman. They say...
wrong video. One more.
Well, anyone who works long hours, they know that when that sleepy slump hits, that it is time to grab a energy drink. That's what a West Michigan woman did, and this one packed a real punch.
Sure did. After she finished the whole thing, she says she saw a mouse lying in the bottom of the can.
Curled up, dead.
She finished the whole Monster. She finished the whole Monster. She didn't taste anything different? Oh my God, yeah. That's
a tiny little mouse in the bottom of a Monster Energy drink.
In this case, she didn't realize there was a mouse in it until she finished the drink.
Mackenzie Kane says she bought a white Monster from a bagel shop in Grand Rapids in 2024. Guzzled it gone in her car. It still felt heavy and she smelled an off odor. When she peered in, sure enough, her attorney Zach Runyon says a mouse in her Monster.
You know, it eventually turns into her vomiting. She had to go to the doctor multiple times because she kept vomiting, and I mean, this was going on for days afterwards.
Mackenzie was tested for a
cannot even imagine. Yes, I would be vomiting for days.
Of illnesses, but all clear. Left with depression and anxiety, says Runyon.
You should never have a product hit the shelf that has a dead rodent in it.
That's fair, yes.
That's why they filed suit against Monster Energy. The case just moved to federal court, and if they don't settle, trial. Until then, the mouse is on ice in case it's needed for evidence.
I mean, it had to have gotten in there when they were manufacturing the can and closing it up. How that happens, I don't know. Obviously, somebody made a mistake somewhere.
A statement from Monster Energy says, in part, the lawsuit is a copycat claim based on a hoax found on the internet. Strict manufacturing processes and technology make it impossible for a mouse to be sealed inside a Monster Energy.
So, of course, they're going to say it's not possible because that is I can't imagine the lawsuit on that. I truly can't imagine the lawsuit on that. That is crazy. Of course, they're going to say that's not possible. That is true. See, and then how they're going to have to prove that it wasn't, that she didn't put it in there afterwards. maybe the Monster Energy soaked so much into the rat that I don't know. That is crazy.
Drink. But Runyon has been down this road again. This is one of a handful of mouse and food drink cases he's handled.
The amount of calls I get about foreign objects in people's food that they buy at restaurants or pick up at the store is really disturbing. It happens a lot more than you would think.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully you weren't snacking.
No, I hope not. Not eating a late night snack.
No, so interestingly enough, most of these cases, they do settle. There are the rare situations where they go to trial, but just went to federal court. So we'll keep tabs on this one. I have a feeling some folks will be talking about it.
How long could this process take?
Well, this happened in 2024, so it's been about a year and just is making it to.
That is crazy. Hold on. Oh, I got it. Where's that rat at? Now tell me, be honest with me. Do you drink Monsters? Are you still going to drink Monsters after this? She drank the whole can without knowing that. Nah, come on now. She had to take. Maybe it's the energy drink was just so strong it overpowered any of the. That is crazy. Oh my God, that is crazy. Yeah, are you still drinking Monster Energy? You still gonna be drinking it? Tell me. I stopped drinking. I don't drink any drinks anymore. Like I stopped drinking energy drinks, and I was definitely end of high school or probably 10th grade. Stopped drinking energy drinks. I just didn't need them no more. Well, I didn't. I was just drinking them because my friends were drinking them. I didn't really need them anyway. I was already always up early, energetic, as y'all can tell now. But tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts on that. Have you ever found anything in your drink that where you was like, oh, that's crazy? Please tell me I hope you haven't found any kind of mouse or anything in your drink. And I've heard things of like going to like different restaurants and then finding a bug in your food. I've seen that. I don't think that's never personally happened to me. At least not to where I've noticed it, but a whole rat. She drank the whole can. That is still crazy to me. She didn't taste any different. And she drank the whole can of Monster. Still felt healthy. She felt some shaking and looked down as a whole rat. Puking for days. 4 days puking. No. That is wild. That is wild. Now is Monster not safe now? Now y'all switching over to Red Bull? What is it? What is it? All-Star? Nitrous? There's a lot. God, this bringing back so many memories. Yeah, like I said, tell me if y'all seen any crazy things in y'all drinks before and food. What's the wildest thing you've seen in your food? How did you feel afterwards? Did you throw up like her? Did you want to fight somebody? That's the good question. I definitely would. Did you want to sue? Did you sue? These are questions that have to be asked. But that is wild. Now, we're going to switch over, pivot again. We're getting close to the end of the show now. I got to start work at 8. Hopefully y'all having a good time at work today, whenever y'all get to work. But let's jump over into it. The next thing we're going to go into, a stolen car crashes, kills 2, and injures 18 people. So let's jump right into that.
We have an update tonight on a deadly crash involving a bus on I-35 in San Antonio.
Police say it happened when the bus traveling from Fort Worth to Mexico collided with a stolen car. 4 suspects in the car are still on the run. And tonight we've learned one of the victims is a North Texas business owner. Fox 4's Casey Stiegel has our story tonight. Casey?
Hey, Steve, Heather, good evening to you. Yeah, this story, tragedy on the road, has North Texas connections. While police down in San Antonio tonight say that they are still looking for the 4 suspects who bailed from the car they say caused this whole crash, and one of them was armed.
As Friday afternoon turned into Friday evening here on Fort Worth's Hemp Hill Street, a quaint blink and you'll miss it sort of building with peeling paint sits quiet. It's the Transportes Guerra station, and the lone bouquet of flowers up front helps tell the story.
We had a stolen white Camaro south on 35 speeding.
It wrecked into a small transport bus carrying a trailer.
More than 250 miles south down Interstate 35 Thursday afternoon, San Antonio police say the bus driver lost control after being hit by the speeding Camaro, struck a guardrail, then an 18-wheeler careened into the bus, flipping it on its side, ejecting passengers. The bus, run by Transportes Guerra, on a trip from Fort Worth to Mexico.
As a result of that crash, 2 individuals are dead, 18 have been transported to hospitals. The age range of the individuals transported were young children to senior adults.
Friends also confirmed to Fox 4 Jose Tito Guerra was killed. He owned the transport company for more than 2 decades. On its Facebook page, a post directing passenger families to 3 different phone numbers, all of which went unanswered when we called Friday.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
While back in San Antonio, detectives are looking for multiple suspects who bailed from the Camaro following the crash.
Yes, there's 4 individuals that fled from the vehicle. 1 was armed with an AK rifle.
Now, neighbors there have their guards up.
It's frightening to know, but just always being safe. Luckily, I'm not here alone.
An AK? See, it's always like the Kia boys. The Kia boys would always be it would steal a car. I know these aren't the Kia boys, but steal a car, go on a joyride, going faster than they should be going, lose control, hit a bus with children and seniors, children's to seniors, all age ranges, kills 2 people. And they run away. It's a tragic situation. Tragic. Like always, let's got to keep the family in our prayer. The families of these victims in our prayers, and let's pray that all 4 of these criminals and lowlifes get arrested and put in jail. Stealing cars, guns. It's a total tragic situation. Very tragic situation. It hit, and an 18-wheeler slammed into it in the back. That is, oh my God. It's people need to be, I don't know. I wonder how old the people who were stealing cars. To me, it don't sound like they were older. I mean, I don't know. We can't jump to conclusions. Yes, we cannot jump to conclusions. But I'm thinking it was, well, hey, might be some young people in there. I could see it being, I don't know. That is absolutely crazy. Hopefully the 18 people can heal from their injuries good, but at the end of the day, 2 people's lives were lost. 2 people's lives was lost to this craziness we're going through. Let's see. Absolutely crazy. Now, tell me your thoughts. Like I always, what are your thinking on it? How much time do you think the people should get? Definitely, they got to get murder. It'll be probably like 2nd-degree murder or manslaughter. But that is crazy. Now, after that, go a little more lighthearted. I seen this video pop up on my feed for YouTube. You know, my algorithm sometime. But this one, AI. So AI is getting more advanced. So an AI was used to help fight against the insurance denial. So there's so many positive things that can come out of AI. So many great helpful tools. I use AI in my work. I use AI in YouTube as well. But at the end of the day, some things can come out. We got to be honest that things bad can come out of AI as well. Artificial intelligence. the rise in the machines. You never know what could happen. I don't know. Now, do you think that that'll eventually come to it, where the machines rise up? Do you think that's where it's leading to with all the AI stuff? Leave me your thoughts. But let's get into this video. Basically just talks about the couple using AI to help them fight their insurance claim, which, hey, you got to use all the tools you can so you can do it. But let's jump right into that.
I basically avoided stairs.
Yeah.
If I could.
That's because every step was grueling for Stephanie Nixdorf. In Davidson, North Carolina, her morning routine nearly impossible to get through without pain. She had to ask for help just to open a juice container.
So even that was something you couldn't do 6 months ago?
Oh, yeah, no.
In 2022, Stephanie was diagnosed with stage 4 skin cancer. Luckily, she responded well to immunotherapy.
But the flip side of that is that there are side effects.
For Stephanie, that meant excruciating joint pain. 2 doctors recommended the infusion medication infliximab, but her insurance denied coverage.
I remember getting on the phone and yelling at the insurance company. And yelled at the insurance. Yeah. Just,
Stephanie's husband, Jason, furious when he saw the denial letter from Premera Blue Cross.
Now, I'm not going to pause it too much, but y'all remember the man who killed the health insurance person? Yeah, Tony, whoever, everybody was talking about him. I can't remember, Macedoni. But, I mean, when people's lives are at risk and then the insurance say they're not going to cover you, I can see where people get angry. I don't think you should crash out and kill somebody, but I can see why people jump and what can some people lose to their emotions and get angry because stuff like this.
Had covered her cancer care, saying the services requested don't meet guidelines for coverage and called the use of infliximab experimental. 2 appeals were also denied.
Did you feel like you were being treated as human beings? Absolutely not. Just a number.
Yeah, no name, no face kind of thing.
Yeah, Gmail.
Desperate, Jason turned to artificial intelligence.
You get to the point of where, okay, this is our last hope.
He had come across a doctor developing an AI tool to take on insurance companies. That doctor helped him use AI to generate an appeal letter for Stephanie more than 20 pages long. Within 48 hours of sending in that version, along with copies to public officials,
right up top, your appeal was approved.
Despite the 3 previous denials for Stephanie, Premera Blue Cross now tells NBC News that the denial of service came from a Premera processing error involving a misapplication of policy. There was no intent to deny care.
Tell me your thoughts. Do you think it was actually a miss? You think it was actually an error? Or they didn't want to cover? That was simple as that. Tell me your thoughts. Let's keep going into this video.
Ultimate approval letter from Premera said, I want to apologize that you have been waiting to receive treatment for 9 months. Now, there are AI services specifically designed for insurance denials.
Introducing Claimable.
One of them, Claimable, says it can generate appeal letters for coverage of 70 medications for a cost of about $40.
Climbing stairs and stuff like that. Climbing stairs are hard.
We tested it with Jason, plugging in insurance information and using drop-down menus to explain symptoms and the deny claim.
So I will hit continue.
In about 15 minutes, I had an expansive appeals letter, complete with scientific references and personal stories.
These are things I would never have thought of.
The Nixdorfs credit AI with Stephanie finally getting the drugs she needed, but they're left frustrated it took so much time.
If you could talk to the CEO of the insurance company, what would you say? I would say, what if this was your wife?
Yeah.
And this was happening to you?
Yeah, or your daughter or your sister.
That message from a couple that says they had to use artificial intelligence to be treated like real people.
And Brian Chung joins us now live in studio. Brian, for some using AI, that may sound intimidating.
Yeah, it sounds a little techie, sounds a little difficult, but I found it simple and relatively quick to use. And I should point out that it's not just AI tools that are being used for health insurance. There are tools that homeowners can use to dispute their denied claims as well. Tom.
All right, Brian Chung for us. Brian, great story. We thank you for watching.
Now that is interesting. Now, yes, I believe AI can be very helpful. There are times when AI can be very helpful. Like I said, I've used it in both work and I've used it and just YouTube as well. Just in general things that I'm using for help me finding thumbnails and all that good stuff. But it's great. AI is such a powerful tool. It searches the internet so fast. I've uploaded documents and it scans the entire document. I tell it to break it down to me. Give me so-and-so out of the document and it'll list it out. Tell me exactly where to find it in the document. Make sure, even if you use an AI, you got to always make sure to double check, because you never know when it can make a mistake, because, I can't say it's human error because it's AI, but I have come across mistakes that AI have made. So just make sure you double check it with your own eyes. I always ask for, give me where you found that information at. I'll go and check it myself and make sure I understand it the same way. It'll help me pull information quicker. And then writing these claims, that's amazing. Now tell me your thoughts on the insurance company. Do you think that the insurance company actually made an error? Do you think it was an error in the insurance company, or do you think they just didn't want to honor the claim? Would you have thought to use AI? Have you been using AI in your daily life, or have you been learning more about it? I know that a lot of people are scared that AI is going to take a lot of jobs. Honestly, yes. Yeah, AI is going to get rid of some jobs. But we got to be honest about it. AI is here and it's going to get even more advanced. It's going to start taking jobs away. But also, I feel like the AI will open up more jobs. So like AI engineers, AI prompt engineers, people working with AI more. So it's going to have an opportunity to expand into new roles. But it is also going to get rid of just like when robots, when they started using more robotic technology in manufacturing, they got rid of some jobs in the manufacturing plants. More technology, more advanced technology gets rid of some jobs because it makes the jobs easier. So that's the price of advancing in technology. This is what it is. It is what it is. Now, that was interesting, but now we're going to jump over into this one popped up, which shocked me. A 7-Eleven employee was fatally beaten by her manager. So let's jump over right into that video and see what it's talking about.
A family grieving tonight after they say a young woman was beaten by her supervisor after showing up for work at a Hollywood convenience store last week. Jessica McLaughlin walked into work at 7-Eleven in Hollywood and was assaulted. Tonight, she's on life support at the hospital.
Her family is searching for answers in what they're calling a senseless and baseless attack as police search for her attacker. KTLA's Mary Beth McDade joins us live in Hollywood with details on this tragedy and reaction from the family. MB.
Yeah, and John, her family says that she has a big heart, loves children, and always puts family first. And now her family is preparing to say their final goodbyes on Wednesday when they take her off life support.
Oh, my
God. She's probably one of the best family members ever.
Clancy McLaughlin fights back tears as he talks about his 24-year-old daughter, Jessica, who loves children and helping others.
I used to call her my green-haired warrior because she would take homeless people food. She would take clothes to people.
He tells us Jessica's assistant manager at a Hollywood 7-Eleven, Valeria Parra, brutally beat Jessica at work last week.
Her heart stopped, so she couldn't breathe. She lost all oxygen to her brain for over 10 minutes.
Oh,
and she basically is declared brain dead now.
Clancy says the assistant manager would bully his daughter at work. And then last Tuesday, as his daughter was getting ready to leave work for the day, Valeria attacked his petite daughter.
She physically grabbed her by her hair, was swinging her around, threw her on the ground, and she sat on top of her chest while she was physically assaulting her.
When a coworker tried to help, Clancy says Valeria then went after the coworker.
And at that time, Jessica got up and she said, call 911, I can't breathe, and then she collapsed. And at that point, I understand that the assistant manager hit her one more time.
Valeria apparently then fled.
But even before that, she was trying to go back into the back office and try to delete the video of the attack.
Police tell us they responded to the scene and are continuing to search for the attacker. Meantime, the family is preparing to say their final goodbyes on Wednesday when they take Jessica off life support.
We're going to try to get everybody that we can inside the hospital where they could come at least say their last goodbyes before.
And if you know where Valeria is, you are urged to contact police. Now, a GoFundMe page has been set up to help out with Jessica's funeral costs, and you can find a link to that GoFundMe page on our website, KT.
That is crazy. Hold on, we gotta back that up to see. So it said that
when a coworker tried to help,
she sat on top of her chest. Her hair was swinging her around, threw her on the ground, and she sat on top of her chest while she was physically assaulting her.
When a coworker tried to help, Clancy says Valeria then went after the coworker.
Yeah, she sounds like very dangerous. Golly. You start beating on one employee, and then when the other employee tries to help you, go after them. No, that is a crash out. That is absolutely crazy. And then she tried. Hold on, And
at that time, Jessica got up and she said, call 911. I can't breathe, and then she collapsed. And at that point, I understand that the assistant manager hit her one more time.
Valeria apparently then
hit her one more time after she collapses. Some people don't care.
And fled.
But even before that, she was trying to go back into the back office and try to delete the video of the attack.
Please tell.
Yeah, she knew what she did. She knew what she did. She tried to go and delete the video. So it sounds like she tried to, so she didn't get to it. I'm assuming they stopped her and then she fled. That is crazy. I wonder what was going through her mind. Like, was she jealous of her? What was the reason that she beat her on her? What was the reason? What? She jealous of her looks? What is? That is crazy. I wonder. Oh my God. She was a manager too, so the owner had to rise her up in the system. So how was she as an employee? Was she? So many questions. She's still on the loose. If you see her, she needs to be in jail. That's all that sounds like is that she needs to be in jail. She needs to be found. Because that is absolutely crazy. There's nothing you can say about it. You beat on her until she died or until she brain damaged, losing oxygen, can't breathe. It probably collapsed her lung or something like that. Broke her rib, collapsed the lung. I don't know what happened, but that is crazy. Then you go after the person trying to stop it. Then you go to delete the footage. Yep. That is a crash out who needs to be in jail. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tell me your thoughts. When they find her, I'm gonna do some more research to see if we can go into this more and see what's happening. Because what are they gonna charge her with? I'm assuming murder, maybe first degree, fleeing from police, of course, like that, stuff like that. But it's a dangerous world. You don't know who can try to hurt you, so you have to be prepared. You would think that you're fine. You may have gotten into it a few times with your manager, but she ends up trying to beat you to death. Make sure y'all protecting yourselves. Pray for the family. I know it looks like that was the father. Losing your daughters, like we said before, is a terrible thing. Terrible thing. The grief you can feel, I can't imagine it. Can't imagine it. Tell me if you have gone through that grief. How did you deal with it? What are your thoughts? Do you think she could? What kind of charges should she get? Have managers ever abused y'all before? I've never been abused by a manager before. Is that? I can see it happen. It can happen to anybody, but does it happen to women more? Are they abused by managers more? A lot of questions, but absolutely crazy. Now we're getting into the last thing. The last thing we're going to look at today is that a Florida deputy saved a little boy who was attacked by his dog. So that's going to be in it. That's what we're going to end it up today with. But let's get into it.
An off-duty reserve deputy jumped into action after a scary incident in Weeki Wachee. A 5-year-old boy was attacked by his family's dogs last week. His neighbor, Deputy Stephen Murphy, came to his aid, helping that boy's parents save his life. Fox 13's Kylie Jones spoke to that deputy as that little boy recovers in the hospital.
Being a first responder is in Deputy Stephen Murphy's blood. First, as part of Hernando County Fire Rescue.
Started there as a reserve there, actually, and then, or kind of like a volunteer, and then became full-time firefighter paramedic in 2017.
Now, Murphy splits his time as a reserve deputy on the SWAT team with the Hernando County Sheriff's Office. But last Friday night, Murphy wasn't on the clock.
Received a knock on the door from 2 young boys who told me that their younger brother had been attacked by a dog.
Murphy says the 2 boys saw his patrol car in the driveway, hoping he could help. The reserve deputy saw their mom in the road holding her 5-year-old son. The sheriff's office says the little boy was playing in the backyard when he was attacked by the family's 3 Great Danes. Their mom heard screaming, ran outside, and pulled her son away.
His injuries were pretty severe.
3 Great Danes?
The worst was needing treatment very quickly.
With his background as a paramedic, Murphy knew he had to act fast. He ran to his patrol car, grabbed his first aid kit, and started first aid on that little boy until on-duty first responders could get there.
I feel God put me there at the right time and just in time for that boy.
The boy was airlifted to a trauma center in Tampa with life-threatening injuries. Deputy Murphy says this was different from his usual calls.
It was just more of an emotional connection, having known them prior to the incident.
The sheriff's office says the little boy is now walking and beginning a long recovery.
I've been contacting him every single day, just trying to follow up on him. Dad sent me a photo of him in the hospital the other day, and it brought tears to my eyes.
In Hernando County, Kylie Jones, Fox 13 News.
Wow. That is crazy. I wonder what made the dogs attack. Said he was attacked by 3 dogs. Let's go back to that a little bit.
Murphy splits his time as a reserve deputy on the SWAT day night. Murphy wasn't on the clock.
Received a knock on the door from 2 young boys who told me that their younger brother had been attacked by a dog.
Murphy says the 2 boys saw his patrol car in the driveway, hoping he could help.
They were smart. They knew. I don't know if the mother told them or she was just crying, and she told them, but yes, that was smart. They went to a deputy. They saw a police car and they went and knocked on his door. That is.
The reserve deputy saw their mom in the road holding her 5-year-old son. The sheriff's office says the little boy was playing in the backyard when he was attacked by the family's 3 Great Danes.
3 Great Danes? What? I don't know. What happened? My main thing is what happened to make the dogs attack. Well, now, because my thing, I don't know. I've heard mixed feelings about if the dogs are trained well, they are less likely to attack children. But I might be wrong. Tell me if I'm mistaken, but they might not have been trained well. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the son did something to make the dogs overly angry and they just lost control. But Great Danes are some big dogs now. Big dogs. God.
Their mom heard screaming, ran outside, and pulled her son away.
His injuries were pretty severe. The worst of the worst was needing treatment very quickly.
With his background as a paramedic, Murphy knew he had to act fast.
Dog bites are very dangerous. I know they got so much bacteria in the dog's mouth, just like in a human's mouth. I think human bites are even more dangerous. I might be mistaken, but any kind of bite I know is dangerous just because of the bacteria that's in the mouth of animals, humans, anything like that. That is crazy. I'm glad that the little boy survived. Question, what is going to happen to the dogs? Are the dogs going to be put down because they attacked the little boy? I know if they kill a person, I know they're definitely put down, but if they attack and bite, are they going to be? That's a question. Is the dogs going to be put down, or was it can it be a mistake on the boys' part? I don't know. That is wild. That is wild. Now tell me your thoughts. Do you think it was the boys' fault? Do you have there been an instance where the family dog has ever attacked you? Do dogs just go out of control? I don't have any dogs. My roommate has a dog, but that's it. Is it they feel like they can beat you? Will they be more likely to attack you? I don't know. Tell me your thoughts. But that is it for the show today, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in later. But hey, that is it. It's almost time to get to work. But hey, that's it for everything. Have the good rest of y'all day. I'll see y'all back on Friday. Yes, Friday at 6 a.m. and then Saturday at 8 a.m. So be ready early in the morning to get into it and see some of these viral news that's going on. It's just things that, hey, I want to discuss and review the world with y'all. Hey, but that is it. Remember, this is AC the Engineer. This is AC Reviews the World. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, all that good old stuff. Hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. Let's review the world together. But you already know I got to play the outro. Peace.